Craig.
Pete, can you turn Craig on before we start?
Oh, yeah.
That would be great.
I knew I forgot something.
That's okay. Hey, everybody. How are you?
Hey, everybody.
It's live television.
Hello.
What is going on?
Yeah, I can hear us in our ear, too.
Who's Craig?
Craig watches us, George.
Mm.
And
I like Craig.
He does.
Now recording.
There
Oh,
it is.
you weren't kidding.
There we go. All right. Welcome, everyone, to If These Balls Could Talk. This is Mark, along with John and Pete, and joining us tonight is our special guest, George Robare.
Hey, George Robare.
Hello.
Hi, everyone.
We would actually like to start the episode by wishing Bronny James a full recovery after starting a cardiac arrest a few days ago. We hear that he's been released from the hospital and is resting at home. As we all remember from Damar Hamlin, this is a very serious condition that can hit anyone suddenly for a variety of reasons. It was great to see that Damar is back playing the game that he loves and that he provides hope to a young man with hopefully a very bright future. We wish you the best.
That was very nice, Mark.
Thank you, Mark.
How's everyone been? Sorry to start on kind of a gloomy topic, but
More somber note
let's
than usual.
brighten everyone's spirits now. John, how you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. Pete and a friend of ours and I, we went to see Oppenheimer last night, and it was very, very long and very, very loud, but it was awesome.
How long?
It was like 3 hours. I almost fell asleep only twice, but I was tired and I'm old, so it's fine.
Oh, Mission Impossible is almost 3 hours, right?
I didn't see that yet, but we're going.
Oh, I thought you did see it.
No, I did the work with Jamie, and we caught up
Got
to all the Mission Impossible movies, and so we're gonna see that. And I did the work when we caught up to all the Fast and Furious movies. We're gonna see that because she's like a teenager now, so we're watching cool stuff.
Very
Pete, how are
cool.
you?
Doing all right. Still just getting everything set up. And actually, it's been a busy work week this week. We have a big project that's coming towards its finish. So all hands on
Where's my
deck.
Baby Watch soundbite, guys?
I thought you said you made it.
I know I didn't make it.
Well,
You
instead
gotta
of
make it.
Baby Watch this week, it has been intern at Work Watch. So and new recruits. So we got a lot of new people at work that have started. Some are interns, some are new employees. So it's like a gajillion people, and now we're all rushing to finish this big project. So it's gone from like
How do you feel
empty-
a gajillion people in your office?
it's
That's
difficult.
what I want to know.
It is very hard. We've expanded, so we're in the entire upstairs now. So anyway, we're just about done with that. So hopefully things can settle down a little bit, so everybody can actually like get acquainted with working. Oh, and I saw Oppenheimer last night with John. That was pretty sweet.
Yeah, you did.
Oh, wow.
You did.
It was
Yeah, you did.
it's intense.
I heard it was long. Yeah.
It was
It
long.
is long.
And loud.
Someone
Long
thought it was
and
long.
loud.
So they did a lot of really cool stuff where they they're trying to like make you feel the stress of like the bomb, and so it was like lots of moments of like incredible silence when there shouldn't be, and then it was like, oh, the bomb just went off, right? So you almost feel the aftershock, which was cool. Like artistically, it was pretty cool. Anyway,
Mhm. Yeah, no, I really enjoyed it
I like movie good.
for sure. I had a good
All
time.
right.
It's very heavy.
Let's get to know our friend George, shall we?
Yes.
Now, George, we know you played in an adult soccer league at Afram Sports Park for a few years, and that's even how you met your now wife Janice, who was actually on another team. So
Hey, Janice.
please tell us how long you've been playing the sport that you enjoy, or how long you've been playing that sport, and do you follow any professional teams, and whether or not you actually still play?
Okay. Lots of good questions there. So yeah, as you said, met my wife through soccer, which I was not a soccer player growing up. Got a job after college, right? So 26-year-old, moved back home, basically worked all day, went home to my room and did nothing, and it was very boring. So some of my buddies that I met through college joined a soccer team. So I decided to try that out. Ended up being a lot of fun. A couple of years into it, this cute blonde girl joined the team, and it kind of took off somewhat quickly, I guess. I was a little timid at first, but eventually asked her to go grab drinks one night. And yeah, we ended up getting married several years after that. the only story really out of that is I remember telling my friend's dad, this is before I even like spoke to Janice, like that girl's gonna be my girlfriend someday, and like had that confidence, which I generally do not have. But yeah, I guess it worked out. We are married,
Oh,
so
that's
there's
And
great.
now
that.
you're staffing a football team.
Yes, and we have 3 children now. That's true.
Now you're staffing a football team. That's awesome.
But yeah, she's definitely the soccer star. So she grew up playing soccer. She's much better than me. She's the all-star for sure. But I pretended to like it for a bit. So we went to like some MLS games, went to the the Red Bulls down in Jersey, saw them. That was cool.
It's a good thing I wrote a ton of soccer questions for you.
Yeah, we'll see how it goes.
I may have also done that.
Yeah, we went to
It's like
actually
we prep
last
our
Women's World
guests.
Cup. Yeah, we went to the semifinals up in Montreal. It was
Nice.
USA versus Germany, which I did not know when I bought the tickets, but that worked out well. That the USA made it that far.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you did know. You planned it ahead.
I knew. I
Called
did.
it.
I
Janice, he knew it all. He knew
Yeah,
everything,
yeah.
Janice. So that's how he planned it.
Yeah, so that was cool. That was a good game. Better than the finals, if I remember right. I think they smoked whoever they played in the finals that year. I think they won like close game with us.
That was a
so,
good game. That was a good game.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I don't remember all the parts of your question. I feel like that was a good chunk of it.
I mean, do you follow any other teams right now?
For soccer, not really.
Are you done pretending you like soccer?
Yeah,
I
what
do
about other sports?
still watch. I watch like the World Cup games. So, as I mentioned, 3 kids. One was born in October, which was during the Men's World Cup. So I was home from work, so I was able to catch literally every single game. I think I watched after the group stages, especially. So, yeah. Outside of that, I watch MLS a little bit. Follow some of the drama with Messi, stuff like that. But very casual fan, I'd say.
Okay. Are there any teams that you do follow?
Yeah, boy. I like most sports, I'd say. So I do follow a lot of different teams or attempt to. Generally speaking, I'm a New York homeboy, so like a lot of New York teams or
Yeah,
Jersey
yes.
because it's close enough. Yeah. So like Devils, Giants, Yankees.
Devils
So,
over
like-
the Rangers, George?
Yeah.
I don't know, man.
Well, the Rangers just kind of suck.
Oh, they did fine last year.
The Devils had Marty Brodeur for a while.
That's the real reason. No, the real reason is we used to have the farm team. So the River Rats were the farm team for the Devils.
Oh,
so
that's true. The River
Yeah.
Rats.
grew up watching the River Rats, move up to the big leagues, play on the Devils. So it was cool. Used to be season ticket holders as a kid.
Nice.
So my parents would bring me to all the home games.
Yankees. The Rangers had Mark Messier and Adam Richter. And
I didn't get to
Christ.
watch them at the Pepsi Arena, so they don't count.
I guess that's fine.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I remember Pearl Jam did a show here in
We can probably move
06.
on. One left.
Oh, it's a quick thing. Pearl Jam did
No,
a
go ahead.
thing and did a concert at I don't know if it was the Times Union Center already or the Pepsi, but he goes like, Eddie Vedder is like, hey man, glad to be here in the whatever arena, home of the Albany River Rats. Like he was like, what the hell is your team name? Like this is pretty weird. So then he immediately goes on and plays like on purpose the weirdest set that he said for the Freaks. And he played the song Rats, which was awesome.
Yeah, and Rowdy was not a good-looking rat. I mean, he looked like he
No,
crawled out
that
of the
was a-
river
that was
and
a
became a
weird-
mascot.
That was a weird
Really
ass
weird.
mascot.
Yeah,
I mean,
really weird.
It's a very specific image when you think about River
Yeah.
Rats.
They picked it up at Goodwill or something. I don't know.
Yeah,
They
it was a
should've really
used
rethought
Halloween
the name a
costume
little
for
bit.
sure.
Now the Empire, that's a sports team name.
Are we allowed to talk about them? I don't know how that works.
fine.
Yeah.
We can talk about that.
The
Yeah.
sad,
They
sad
were good for a
situation
little while.
formerly known as the Albany Air.
And now the
Empire.
Firebirds. If
Yeah.
we want to watch
The
professional
Firebirds.
professional acts, we have
Are they- Wait, did someone buy him from AB?
Not as good.
It's not the football team. It's
Oh.
the lacrosse team.
Oh,
And they do play at the whatever the TU is now, the MVP arena.
MVP. Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it like the same
Sponsoring us. You
players
wanna
as
be
the
MVP
Empire?
arena? Probably.
They're like,
might-
hey,
they
you guys are
probably
pretty
could, yeah.
athletic, dude. We got to switch sports. You're
right,
all under
you want to ask your
contract.
question?
And we're at time, so it's perfect.
Perfect. John, turn your mic up.
Okay.
Gain wise, I don't know. It was quiet. I got to remember in between the first and second question now to edit that. All right. So,
I'm going to edit that.
well, yeah, but I'm gonna edit your volume so that it sounds like anyway. So George, remember when we used to
Yes.
go camping?
Yes.
So many years a couple friends of ours, it was a small group, would camp 4th of July weekend at Rogers Rock in Northern Lake George, which entailed renting boats, drinking, obviously, lawn games, and even jumping off of a cliff. Did you partake in that or no?
I watched you. That's
okay.
Yeah,
that counts. So in addition to that, like all the camping that you guys have probably done on top of our Lake George 4th of July outings, you guys tend to do a lot of hiking. You seem very outdoorsy. There was like a picture of you with a giant tree that we saw before. You've done some serious summit hikes. Remember, you guys have climbed a decent amount. What's the allure of backpacking up a mountainside, living in a tent for a week, and showing us all up at various lawn games?
So some of that, hopefully this doesn't come up too often, but I have children now, so that's kind of taken a backseat, unfortunately. But yeah, back in our youth, I suppose we would definitely hike some of like the fire towers in the Adirondacks, some of the high peaks we've hiked, stuff like that. But yeah, I guess it's
Are you guys 12sters?
No, we're nothing stirs. We're
You've
we're
done a little bit of
dabblers, I guess.
everything.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, we haven't committed to any actual community. We just bounce around. Yeah. But yeah, I guess definitely a sense of accomplishment, a sense of feeling like you're getting some exercise in is always nice. Generally, the quiet is peaceful. Depending on when you hike and where, getting away from some people is always a good thing. And yeah, just I think kind of that getting closer to nature feel that you have on a hike, especially if it's an all day type event, right? Where you're hiking for 12 miles or something like that, right? Not that we did that too often, but even a couple hours in the woods, you kind of feel like you've forgotten about the real world for a bit. So
yeah, I think Steph and I have done quite a few summits now ourselves, and I feel like you guys partially inspired us. Like, we had done hikes before, but then talking to you and Janice, it's like, oh wow, they climbed a lot of stuff. So that was really cool to see or to do. And I totally hear you. It's such a cool thing, even along the journey, but especially when you get up to that top and just see this
the
gorgeous
top's great.
view.
Yeah, and then the meal when you get to the bottom's my favorite part too.
Oh,
you're
absolutely.
Starving after, burning calories all day long. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anything I do is so I can eat afterwards.
Yeah, I'd say hiking fits into that for sure. You're pretty hungry by the time you're done.
So Pete, you've opened the door up a little bit. Do you want to talk about either the time you had to walk 3 miles to your car, or the time you had to get saved by the Mounties?
Oh, which one? Yeah. Oh, the getting saved was they weren't
was epic.
They weren't on horses, but they did bring a boat, because we were literally like...
It's the word that came out of my head, but yeah, so you got saved by a boat park ranger, and that's amazing,
We
honestly.
were 5 miles of... it's called the Tongue Mountain Range on Lake George, and it's 3 summits in a row. It is a 14.5-mile hike. We started it a little too late, thinking it was 10 or 11 miles. All trails, we just misread the whole thing. And we were at the very pinnacle of this Tongue Mountain Range, and the sun went down, and that was it. And we're like, shit, we're more than 5 miles away from the nearest like speck of civilization, and in the middle of nowhere on an island in like
you act
October.
like it was you speak of this as it was a surprise the sun went down.
To be fair,
there was an eclipse that day. Yeah, what the hell?
To be fair, Steph and I thought that it was like 4 or 5 miles shorter, so we would have timed it just right. But
it gets dark real quick too, right? Once the sun goes behind the trees, so you don't even realize, and all of a sudden it's pitch black.
Yeah, and I had Steph is in chat now, and she reminded me. Yeah, it was also November when we did this, not October. So the sun set at 6, so we really didn't have that much time. We probably should have done it sooner, but if you do it sooner, there's rattlesnakes.
Upon hindsight.
Yeah, so it's no sunlight or snakes. It's your choice.
The last time I actually hiked around Lake George, I ran into a rattlesnake, and it was actually broad daylight out.
Damn. Yeah, they're along the one side there. I forget which side of the... So this would be the west side. A bunch of those mountain ranges. But so, George, I highly recommend doing all the Lake George peaks, to see rattlesnakes and run out of time.
Yeah, you're really
selling
making me want to do that. Yeah.
I will say that was the most gorgeous view of the lake we've ever seen.
You guys need to team up once your future son is old enough to do like easy ones and like do like kid-friendly hikes together. Because I mean,
Oh, that'd be great.
They're even 2 years. They're going to be like 2 years apart, 3 years apart. Some of them. I mean, that's awesome.
Yeah.
They're gonna be bros.
Yeah, all sorts of ranges of children. Yeah, whatever age kid you want, I got one. So
Awesome.
Our buddy Jane, he drags his kids everywhere, and they boat and they hike and they weld and they're super brave. And so we went to Maine like a month ago, and he brought them up a trail where there was a cliff face, not a cliff face, a big one, but like a small one where they had to climb up a vertical face on sticks, and so one of them a little scared of heights, so she did a really great job and she did it, but one of them was like, "This is awesome! This is the best thing ever!" So
Yeah, I think I've climbed that
kids
before.
can hike too, yo.
Yeah, that was scary steep.
It's like they're tiny humans.
Yeah,
Well,
that was the
they're
Bar
tiny
Harbor
humans.
Hill.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been there.
Bahaba.
Bahaba. Bahaba. All right. Now that we're done doing that, and so a perfect segue to talk about kid stuff for Pete. We mentioned earlier in the show you're a father of 3, and we'd like to know, how do you manage life with your Robare cubs? Have you gotten them into any sport leagues yet? And what sort of advice do you have for Pete on his journey into fatherhood?
Okay, so yeah, 3 kids, 5 years old, 3 years old, and we'll call it 10 months. So the 5-year-old, yeah, 10-ish months, whatever, not quite a year. So what have we done with him so far? So Wesley has done T-ball twice, so he just finished his 2nd season in
Oh,
T-ball.
that's awesome. Does he
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
it?
Depends on the day.
Oh no.
He's an interesting kid when it comes to effort. He often tells me how tired he is after playing for 5 minutes because he doesn't want to do it anymore. But other days he really likes it. I don't know. He likes hanging out in the field and staring at whatever. Like
I love the logic of preschool kids. Just like they're trying to like, Dad, this is the way it is.
Yeah, no, he's very matter of fact about it for sure.
Nice.
Let me show you how life works.
Right.
Yeah,
I've
exactly.
lived all of 5 years. I know how
So
life works.
old, Dad.
I've got it down pat by
Forgotten
now.
about it.
Just so tired.
I used to imagine that when Jamie was a baby, she talked in a British accent.
Mhm.
What?
I've pooed myself.
Well, she did start talking in a British accent after watching Too Much
Well, she
Peppa
did.
Pig.
She did also start talking in a British accent when because she was watching Peppa Pig. Like the moment she was like,
Ah.
That's a side question I have for George. Are there any good like kid shows and cartoons now?
there's a million.
Yeah. My kids really like watching weird stuff on YouTube, like adults opening toys, people running over things in cars, weird clips from video games that other people have played. Yeah, just very strange things.
Be scared of things like Cocomelon and Miss Rachel.
Yeah,
What's
I mean,
that?
there's like actual shows too, but they like just, I don't know, literally someone's hands just like crinkling paper. It's like they'll watch that for an hour.
Oh, no.
So I read
I'm not quite
that
sure.
people were creating YouTube videos with machine learning, and these YouTube videos were designed and titled for like 2-year-old children that just get a tablet and they watch things on auto run, and so they like watch a thing and they'll watch the next thing, and they're titled like with as many things to get the search engine for YouTube to just bring them up, and they'll get millions and millions of views. They just get watched so much, so people were making a ton of money off the randomness of that.
Huh. Yeah,
You
that's
think
true.
we should start a child's podcast?
Maybe
I don't know.
you'll have to sing a lot and dance a lot.
Maybe talk with a higher pitched voice.
We could just speed that up in
Cocomelon,
post, right?
Or
Cocomelon
not,
is
I mean,
literally hypnosis for children, like it is, straight up.
We'll have to do it If These Walls Could Talk kids musical number episode.
I really do want to do a elementary and middle school kids sports episode
That would be cool.
and talk about gym and kids' feelings about sports. I think that would be awesome.
We could do that.
That would be pretty
I
fun.
know enough
Alright.
kids now.
Yeah.
All right. Shall we get started, everyone?
Let's do it.
Sure.
Bam, 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 bam.
All right.
really
So,
good.
so we are in the midst of the Women's World Cup, and the American women are the favorites to win. Thus far, they've defeated Vietnam 3-0 and tied the Netherlands in the group stage. with most years,
Vietnam bad.
well, something they could have done worse.
It did not look challenging at all. I watched a lot of that game.
Now, with most World Cups, there's been a superstar as a face of the team, like Mia Hamm, Abby Wambach, or Carly Lloyd. Meanwhile, this team has its biggest names, Alex Morgan and Megan Rapinoe, kind of taking a back seat to the incredibly young talent like Trinity Rodman and Sophia Smith. So, everyone, do we think the U.S. women's national team could be the first to ever three-peat a World Cup?
Ooh. I don't know.
Never been done on the men or the women.
Really?
I think
Never.
that they are a dominant team, and they are playing very well so far. Everybody's healthy. I don't see why they couldn't.
You're
Yes.
right. And a lot of people are saying that their bench, it could be a strong World Cup team as well. Like they're a very deep team this year. They're a young team, but they're a deep team.
So what?
They've gotten some good energy off the bench, right? Like
They
even
do.
in the Netherlands, I forgot who subbed in, Lloyd or the other L.
It wasn't Lloyd.
Yeah, the other L word. Yeah, I don't remember her last name, but yeah, she really fired him up in the second half. They were pretty flat, really, the first
They
half.
were flat
again.
that first half, yeah.
Yeah. My only fear is like getting the ball in the net, right? I feel like statistically, if you look at it, like they've been dominant in both games for the most part. Netherlands was a little tighter, but like it should have been more than 3-0, right?
Mhm.
I think in that first game. And then really to that second half, I think they had a couple chances also where they could have made it into a win, 2-1 or 3-1 even. So
Alex
like,
Morgan was like inches away from getting
she
that
had a
go-ahead
couple really
goal.
good looks.
Oh,
Yeah.
man.
She was that
Very good.
offside on that one that she actually did get.
Yeah,
in the net.
slightly delayed pass. I thought they had the timing well, but she
Mhm,
took
mhm.
off a little too quick. Yeah, like one step. But
Oof.
it's tough. I don't know. I think they just got to get a little bit more consistent. But I think it's doable.
So I read an article that draw actually disappointed a bunch of people because even though it is very unlikely, there is a statistical probability that they might lose because if Vietnam wins, I think 5-0, even though they are 3-0, even though they won't win. But if they do win, there's a possibility that the U.S. might not advance because they didn't win both games.
Yeah, I was gonna say, how did the draw affect? Because it's not like a.
It does. It
Yeah,
affects them.
yeah, it certainly
I mean,
does.
it lowers because they won the first game by a good portion and they beat a good team in the Netherlands. But
I think the U.S. has to lose by a significant amount, though, because they have the highest goal differential right now in the group.
Because literally the article's title is "They're not used to doing math," right? I mean, they've never had to do math.
was told there'd be no math.
Think about it, right? They was told there would be no math. So I don't know. I think they're gonna probably win it again because who else is gonna win it?
It's a lot of games. Like
It's a lot of games.
Yeah, I'm looking
It's a lot
at
of
the
games in a
schedule.
short amount
right?
of time.
Yeah.
The schedule's pretty insane. Just looking at this going into August before you're even down to 16.
Well, I actually, some friends and I, we were actually going to make a plan to go down there to Australia and New Zealand to watch some of the games.
Oh, that'd be amazing.
That'd be very cool.
Unfortunately, it fell through because it's a very expensive trip.
Yeah,
That's for sure.
oh, yeah.
I mean, the flight alone is a couple $1,000s. So, we're hoping that maybe when it
how much are
comes,
the tickets running?
the tickets weren't so bad because you could get them in a group. And then, like, I think there were a couple that we were looking at, and I honestly don't remember what it was, but it was a lot less than the flight. I want to say it was like $300 or something like that for 4 matches. I could be wrong about that.
I mean, that's not. Yeah, for 4 games, that's expensive, but it's not.
And
bad,
and the ones we were looking at were like closer to the final as well. So
okay,
reasonably priced to actually see the games, just not get to that continent.
135 on StubHub right now.
Ooh.
Sit right in midfield.
Yeah, I remember it
Damn.
being reasonable. I mean, it was a while ago that we went, but yeah, we sat in the nosebleeds too. But like,
No,
pretty reasonable for a semifinal. Like, yeah, apparently not. Funny too. The
whole
match we
world.
went to, the next day was like Canada Day or whatever it's called up there, and so it was like we're crossing the border. Everything's USA. People are chanting, screaming. The border's all backed up. Everyone's going to the game, and then bam, the next day, like everyone tossed the USA flags in the trash, and they all whipped out their Canadian flags, and they were all having parades and parties. was really cool to be a part of, actually. But
Nice.
just a really quick change. Like, all right, USA, you did your thing. Like, get out of here.
Now get out of here.
Yeah.
We supported you. Now we
Right.
hate you.
Yeah.
Next.
The World Cup will be back in the States in a few years, so maybe we'll
Okay.
all plan a trip to go see it then.
Love me some Canada Day.
Yeah. I'm sure we'll catch one. I hope, at least.
Oh yeah.
All right, we're out of time. Guys are so good at stuff. Do you want to do a next
Sorta.
topic now, George? Or do you want Pete to do the first one?
Someone else do it. Yeah. I want to listen. I want to hear it.
But Pete doesn't have to do the first one.
I got one.
Yeah, go
You
Mark.
got one? Amazing.
What's the deal with the next topic?
All right, Jerry.
Oh, that one's getting recorded, Mark. That's amazing. All right, I gotta do two hands. Sorry, there we go. All right, so we're gonna keep it on football, non-Americano. Football, soccer friendlies have started
Football.
around the world, and our favorite Welsh footballers beat the Manchester United junior squad.
They
yesterday
did.
in San Diego's Snapdragon Stadium, 3-1, in front of 35,000 fans. Now, before we worry too much about this weird dark timeline where Wrexham can beat a top Premier League team, a Man U senior squad was already traveling to Houston ahead of their game with rival Real Madrid on Wednesday. Which I was going to find the result, but I didn't, but we can look that up. JV squad aside, though, this is a real showing for Wrexham, so on top of their ability to now sell out large stadiums, they did beat Manchester United. So what are our thoughts about this game? And can we speak to the continued marketing genius of McElhenney and Reynolds to put their team in a position to seem like they won that game outright?
Real Madrid won 2-0. And
Real Madrid beat the senior squad? Interesting.
Yes. So now you kind of just mentioned it. That while they faced Man U, it wasn't the real Man U.
But
But-
felt like that was.
Yeah. I mean, there was
And we're
still
talking about it, right?
It was still marketed as Manchester United versus Wrexham, and I even tweeted about it too. It's like this matchup does not
Yep.
sound right, but I'm excited about it. And if it wasn't on so late, I would have probably watched
Ryan
it.
Reynolds tweeted about it.
Yeah. I'm
He was
sure
apparently
his lovely wife Blake
filming-
was watching on ESPN 8 The Ocho.
Yeah, he was apparently filming. So McElhenney was there by himself, but he did tweet about it. So not Deadpool, because Deadpool is paused because of the strike.
Aw,
So,
wah,
sad
wah.
panda.
Wait.
Sad panda.
Wait.
Do it. There we go.
By the way, I just realized you can favorite some of the sounds, so they're a little bit higher on my soundboard now.
Ooh.
Anyway, I mean, we all love Wrexham, right? And it's a team
Yeah.
that we never would have known about had it not been for Ryan Reynolds and Rob McElhenney. And you know what? For that, even most people probably wouldn't even know who Rob McElhenney is.
I mean, Rob McElhenney is a genius. I mean,
Rob McElhenney's a genius.
Yeah.
let's just be straight.
Oh no,
Oh, but-
Ryan Reynolds is the genius. He's
Well,
going
Ryan
to be
Reynolds
like.
is also a genius. Different.
I'm waiting for him
Yeah.
to surpass Elon for wealth, but
I don't know
'cause
about
it could
that.
happen. I don't. He makes a lot of very good business choices. So
Yeah,
you never
only
It
know.
does
like
seem that way.
$300 billion to go.
But I mean, listen, we're talking about this Wrexham team, and the marketing around it is just sensational. I mean, you put Ryan Reynolds pretty much behind anything, it's probably going to sell, right? He's one of those kinds of people now.
That is pretty cool. I'm excited for them. It's just, how can you not root for these dudes? It's like
Yeah.
everybody's dream, when you're little kids, if you're a big sports nut, it's like, man, let's buy our own sports team. And I mean, who cares if it's like the 7th level of hell league of soccer? Like, they're working their way up and they're
It was
making
2
a name
years
for
ago.
themselves.
It's not anymore.
Right.
And the show Welcome to Wrexham was a hit too. I don't know. Does anyone know if they're shooting a second season of that?
Yep.
I imagine they
The
would.
second
because-
season is going to be about them getting out of the National League.
Yeah.
So that is already filmed. So I mean, you look at Wrexham and their depth chart and the way they play, and they're actually getting scarily good. I mean,
Yeah.
Paul Mullen and Elliot Lee are serious footballers. They score a ton. The stat that I read was Paul Mullen has scored 43 goals in 62 games, which is a ton of points. Just a ton of points. Elliot Lee played in the Man U game. He scored a goal. He scored a goal from, let's look, 29 out, which is, I like to replay. It was pretty impressive. I think that they continue to make money, continue to have good sponsorships. They're going to keep getting better players, and they're just gonna
Absolutely.
keep advancing. And I know I've said this every time we've talked about them, but I really believe that.
Yeah.
I just like
I mean,
to
George?
hear the update,
Yeah, I'd be curious. I don't know enough of the specifics, like how like salary caps or anything like that work in those leagues. Like if they market Ryan, like can he pull in just tons of cash and they can get good players? Or
Well, there is a certain there is like a salary cap, and depending on what league you're in, there's only a certain amount that you can go. But
so
the more you get promoted, the more you can spend.
Gotcha.
Mhm.
Yep. Yeah.
We'll talk.
I mean,
We'll talk
money
about
talks,
that
like,
in a minute.
I would love that rule in some of the the American professional leagues.
Relegation in American sports.
Seriously.
Hell
yeah.
yes. Hell yes. That would be awesome.
Could you imagine, like, because the Oakland A's would definitely be down there, because I mean they haven't
their
been relevant.
relegation is they're getting kicked out of California.
They haven't been relevant in like 10 years.
They are getting relegated out of California, so that's great.
I don't know. We'll see. All right, shall we move on?
Sure, if you want to.
All right, who's got next topic?
Okay, so I've been practicing this in my head.
I'm very excited.
You guys ready for this?
Yes.
Kipwat-scan. Say that backwards and it will be next topic.
Dude, I just gotta tell you, I really love you a lot. I just do. I love you, man.
I almost thought that was Klingon for a minute.
No, I literally found
what the fuck you're doing.
I found a backwards
nervous
phonetic translator.
Pete, are you having a stroke?
No, I'm okay.
Okay, I get it. Okay,
No, it's because my camera's reversed, unlike you guys.
Reverse.
That's why. So I speak
meta.
backwards too.
It's all meta. All right, let's continue to talk a little bit more about football. The hype around Lionel Messi has been astronomical, and he hasn't disappointed in 2 Inter Miami matches thus far, with 3 goals and an assist. Now, while in those games,
we scooped that. Just saying.
While in those games, Inter Miami has only tied and lost a match each, but everyone involved is certainly putting large investments in this, going well for this country, including Inter Miami signing Messi to a deal worth between $50 and $60 million per year, which I don't quite understand how they can do with the MLS salary cap. But Apple also inking a 10-year, $2.5 billion deal to air MLS games. The impact of Messi has yet to be fully felt, but Apple has reportedly seen an uptick of 300,000 more subscribers to the MLS Season Pass, according to the Sports Business Journal. From a societal perspective, the country hopes to grow soccer to a comparable point to those overseas. So, everyone, what do we think will be the effect of Messi playing in the MLS on American kids and this country as a whole?
I think
that Messi is, and this is the conversation around football right now, that players like Messi, like Cristiano Ronaldo, like Kylian Mbappe, these guys can change the whole aspect of a team, right? Just by being themselves. Ted Lasso even covered it this past season. They had this guy who came in. He was amazing.
That's what I was going to say. He's going to be like Ted Lasso's version of, was it like...
Go on, you got it.
Zava.
Starts with Z.
Zava.
Yes, Zava is that player,
Yep.
right? And so that's a very common thing in football, where there's these game-changing guys. And I mean, Messi's one of them, for sure.
But they've tried this before, right? They've tried it with Pelé. They've tried it with Beckham. They've tried it with Wayne Rooney. It hasn't really worked, but this feels different.
Well, it seems like the MLS is where successful footballers come to die.
But I mean, also news and media and
right?
Sports outreach, though, is so much further reaching, for lack of a better term, than it was when those, or at least for Pelé and Beckham. I mean, that was like 2 generations and 1 generation ago.
Mm-hmm. I mean, not David Beckham.
David
Beckham is still alive, Pete.
Oh, he's still alive, but I mean, like, he was a big deal.
That was
20
like
something years ago.
That was like 15 years ago.
Yeah, right.
When did the movie Bend It Like Beckham came out? It was a long time ago.
Was that 2000?
But that was when he was still like relevant.
Yeah. But I mean, that's what you're
still
looking
relevant
for
when he came over to the MLS.
I mean, Posh is still cute, right? They're still.
It's you saying she's not cute now?
No, I mean, she is still cute now. That's what I'm saying. Like, they're not that old. It hasn't been that long. But I get what you're saying. The world is very different.
I think it's different. Yeah. It's different this time around.
Right.
Well, what's happening is this douchebag from Inter Miami who is one of those slimy sports owners.
Tell us how
is
you really
literally
think.
just dumping money into this situation. He's like, I'm going to build a bigger stadium, and I signed Messi to a $1 jillion deal, and it's going to make soccer great. And I'm going to talk about it for everyone who will listen.
Someone has to explain this MLS salary cap to me, because it's definitely less than what they're paying Messi. Now, I know that there's a little rule in MLS where it's a dedicated player, like they're allowed to have two players be dedicated players, and they're allowed to have an increase in their salary. But I still think I thought there was a cap on it, like $50 million. I mean, that's probably higher than the worth of a lot of the MLS teams, give or take. I could be wrong about that.
You're probably not wrong, Mark.
It's probably
But yeah, there's
higher
those
than me.
caveats. I started reading about it and then got overwhelmed. But yeah, exactly what you said. Like there's like loopholes a bit, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know.
I just don't. Go ahead, George.
Oh yeah, I was just gonna say, like, I'm a little bit more pessimistic. I think that I feel like this hype's gonna die in like 6 months or so, or maybe after the season ends. Like, yeah, I don't know. Just because, like you guys are saying, it has happened before, and like, I don't know. I mean, he's still an excellent player, right? But like Miami, maybe if Miami starts playing better, that'll help. Like, they're pretty low, if not the lowest, right, in the league.
I think they're the worst team in the league.
They got to start getting some wins. Like, they're not like America's team right now by any means. You know what I mean?
I hear
But
you.
people are gonna go watch him play. That's the thing.
I mean, like, our
Yeah.
grandparents? I mean, who lives in Miami? Floridians? Like, I don't understand.
Could always fly to Miami.
Yeah.
That's probably
Not that
what
bad
people
of a
do.
flight. Yeah, I know.
I think
I
the real
know.
question for football in the U.S. is revenue.
Yep.
And, I mean, we talk about it all the time.
We've talked about it, yeah.
Sports can't pay players if they don't make any money.
Mhm.
And I don't see soccer ads still. I don't.
They've had
I don't.
there's a bunch on Apple TV right now. When we're going to watch some of the
because
shows
they bought
recently.
soccer for a $1 jillion. That's
yeah,
why
but
it's on
a
Apple TV.
lot of people are on Apple TV, and that's front
That's
and center on that site, so there's instant exposure.
I still see some ads on ESPN, not as much as they used to be.
The World Cup's on Peacock. I watched the Vietnam U.S. game on Peacock. So, I mean, they're
there you go.
promoting it. So that's cool.
Yeah.
And we're out of time. Out of time. And we're going to talk about football more.
Yes.
Well, you should do a next topic in that voice.
I'm
Do
going
it.
to. Next topic.
What is that? Like the next topic, Goblin?
All right. Hey, Mark, write that hashtag down. Next topic, Goblin. We're into it.
Next
go.
topic, Goblin.
I'm going to write it in the thinger.
I think you have to
Great.
actually say the next topic too, John.
I'm going to. I'm typing. God damn it. And to speak now about overpaid footballers, Kylian Mbappe, probably one of the best footballers in the world, is working through the final stages of a new contract with Saudi Arabia's newly acquired Al Hilal for a reported $770 million. Yup, you heard that right. Yeah. $770 million. This would make his contract worth more than, and this really blew my mind, the top 15 paid players in the NBA. This comes after his current team, Paris Saint-Germain, has made it clear that he either needs to sign a one-year extension or be shut out of the first-team player shut out as a first-team player all season. So this deal feels insane. Completely insane to me. I read it 3 times. I was like, is this really what's happening? Cristiano Ronaldo just signed a massive deal, however, with another Saudi team, Al Nassr, back in January, and it seems to be the trend. And so how do we feel that these deals are impacting the football world? And what happens to a sport loved by everyone, the whole world over, when all the superstars are playing in one place? I.e., the plot of the current season of Ted Lasso.
I believe very recently Mbappe actually rejected that deal, which is nice. Which is nice to
literally
hear.
this week?
Like
yesterday.
It was yesterday.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think I saw it during something I was watching yesterday.
And Messi was also offered a contract in that same Saudi league, and he rejected it. So it's good to hear that
Cristiano did not.
Well, you know, he's a different kind of human.
That is true. His wife has a Netflix show now.
It's good to hear though that, you know, there are some standards to some of these large professional athletes. I mean, we kind of saw it with the whole Live Tour and the PGA as well. Like there were
that was
some
a
that were
big
just
thing a couple
incredibly
months ago.
loyal to the PGA because Live was backed by some people from Saudi Arabia as well. Now that ultimately merged, but that's another story. But it's good to see though that that some athletes are not willing to to essentially sell their soul just for some money.
I mean,
Because
like,
Saudi
a whole lot of money though.
a whole lot of money.
So hard
Yeah.
to comprehend. Like,
It's like a whole
here's
lot
$1
of
billion. Okay, yeah, I'll kick the ball.
I mean, if the Saudis were to offer us
Seriously.
$30 million to do this podcast, would we take it?
money. Yes. I really need $30 million. Shut your face. I'll work in chains for 30 mil, baby.
Jeez.
It's hard to deny yourself, this generational wealth that literally your family could be set forever. Like,
What would
I don't
you do
even
with $1 billion, man?
forever.
That man is like 32.
I don't
Jesus
know.
Christ.
I'm now suddenly realizing that my podcast partner is a whore.
Yes. You've known this for years, Mark.
You'll just see like a message on the next episode. We've sold out to the Saudis.
We just become the announcers for the Saudi League.
Oh god.
Oh my god, that'd be funny. I don't, if that situation presents itself, then we'll talk about that a little more.
Yeah, we'll cross that bridge when we come to it.
You wouldn't take 30 million to do this.
That's an awful lot of money.
Shut up.
But
a lot of money.
It's a
Well,
lot of
if
money.
the Saudis are willing to pay us, then that means that other people probably might be willing to
Not
pay us that
30
much.
million, dude.
You don't know
Holy-
that. You don't know your worth, John.
$200.
yeah, I'm gonna get him in a
Here's
bidding
I
$5
don't
war.
know
and
which
a
one do you
pickle.
pick. Yeah, right.
I take $5 and a pickle. I love pickles.
Yeah.
Steph says she would take the money.
Yeah, you would,
Yeah.
Steph. Hell yeah.
All right, guys. I guess I'm working with the Saudis now.
I mean, with sports, monopolies are a good thing, in my opinion, right? Because it is nice to see the
I
best
got a
play
baby.
each other, right? Like, honestly, it's like that's what I didn't like about Live. It was tearing those guys apart, right?
Yeah.
It was nice turning on a tournament and seeing them all playing each other. It would be cool, I think, if there was a all-star soccer league that just had the best of the best. Maybe not in Saudi Arabia.
And that is actually
Right.
so
Could be
there was
anywhere else.
there was another like a super league that was kind of proposed a while ago that would take some teams away from the Champions League. So I think that was shot down.
Yeah.
And that one I think would have been more Europe centric.
Hmm.
George, did you watch? Do you watch Ted Lasso?
I do not.
Oh, you got to see that. It's a
I was
great
gonna
watch.
say, so the current season of Ted Lasso, without giving anything away, there's a portion of it which is talking about all the major teams in the Premier League getting Saudi ownership, and everybody pretty much, it wasn't Saudi, it was a little different, but it was what they were going for.
It was a new super
Yeah.
league that they were trying to do just with
They
like
were-
some
they were
super
making a
rich
super
people.
league, and then they were talking about what they would do in the super league. They would have all the same players, and they would just raise prices because they're the super league. And so the moral qualm in the show was like, what do you do where a town that's built around this club and everybody who's there can't afford to go to games anymore? Like, what does that turn into? And this is what this feels like to me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Tough for those guys, I guess.
All right.
all that money. But
Shall we move on?
yeah, I
I
guess
don't
it would be interesting to
We got
follow
48
this though, and
seconds.
just
You're going
just
so
see.
fast, Mark.
I just want to see where this develops though,
Seems
because
like we're done.
what is stopping them from just, instead of like, if this doesn't work and with their own league, just chomping other leagues up in Europe and just buying everything.
I mean,
like buying
they're not going to stop.
Right? No, I
not
mean
gonna
they
stop.
did it to
Been-
the PGA. They're going to do it
Okay,
to.
it's been, let's think about the time period, right? So it's been less than a year. They already stole Cristiano Ronaldo. They almost stole Mbappe. The only reason Messi is not playing for them is because he got a ridiculous deal in the MLS.
No, Saudi
I mean,
actually offered him
going
more
down?
money.
Yeah.
The Saudis actually offered him more.
Really? It's
Yeah.
Wow.
crazy. So, I mean, there is like somebody over there who wants to steal all the biggest footballers in the world because they want it to be popular. And that's what
Yeah.
the articles were talking about. They want it to be popular in Saudi Arabia because they love it and they're rich.
Yeah, they're
So
just
they're just buying it.
trying to make like a almost just buying the pop culture, sports, and like that kind of thing that was bred elsewhere, and now
They're trying to
they're
out
trying to
Yankees
get
the
theirs, yeah.
Yankees.
Buy football.
Yeah,
They're trying to out Yankee the Yankees. That's what
Shut
they're
your
trying to
face.
do.
Right.
We're terrible this year. Terrible.
Well, that's because the Mets outspent you.
That's right. And also because we're bad at baseball, I guess.
Hey, Aaron Judge should be back this weekend.
Yeah.
Beat the Mets yesterday too, by the way. Just throwing that out there. But
Sorry, Jeff.
Oh yeah.
I'm not sorry, Jeff.
Sorry. All right, that's a good end, Mark. See,
That
that's
is.
natural. And
That
we're out
felt
of time.
nice.
We seemed like we were
It
done.
did.
I
there
like
was like a 2-second pause.
We
where
brought
like,
it-
2-second pauses. Pete was literally
All right.
talking, and
We
I
brought
got a
it
next.
back.
I got a
It's like
next topic.
taking it
I got
in.
another next
Okay.
topic. Ready? I'm going to be proud of this one, and hopefully I don't mess it up.
don't mess it up.
Fast as fast can be. The next topic will be.
What? This is just going to be the
Amazing.
next. This is the episode of Next Topic Funny Voices. I guess.
So, as was reported last week, running backs are getting the shaft when it comes to long-term contracts. Well, it seems all other positions are getting big dollars. This has seemingly trickled downhill to rookies as well, as all three first-round quarterbacks, Bryce Young, C.J. Stroud, and Anthony Richardson, each signed 4-year contracts worth $38 million. $36 million and $34 million respectively that are all fully guaranteed. Now, it's not just quarterbacks, as the number 3 overall pick, edge rusher Will Anderson Jr., number 5 pick, cornerback Devin Witherspoon, and number 6 pick, offensive tackle Paris Johnson Jr. also receive fully guaranteed contracts. Now, this trend actually started in 2021 when the first 28 overall draft picks signed fully guaranteed deals. So, everyone, why are NFL franchises giving fully guaranteed contracts to rookies?
So they play with them.
But why?
Yeah, that's
I mean-
a little. They seem so
I mean-
reluctant to give it to veterans that are proven. It seems kind of flipped on its head.
I mean, we've been talking about this for literally a year. $30 million for maybe a Super Bowl quarterback is a bargain. It's a bargain, guys.
And there is like, so there's like a scaled salary cap when it comes to contracts for rookies. Like, depending on where you're drafted, you're only allowed to offer like this amount of money or something like that. But they haven't really started this whole trend with fully guaranteed until 2021. But why are you, this is supposed to be an investment. Like, why are you offering fully guaranteed contracts to people that really haven't done anything?
yeah, it must be worth the gamble to them. To John's point, to keep them, because it's a
Mhm.
cheap deal compared to anybody who's played in the league, right? Yeah. So you
And they-
just
At least for
wing it and hope
quarterbacks.
for the best, right? If a couple
Yeah.
stick.
I mean, what's $30 million to the, Tennessee Titans? Like, who cares?
Well, so a rookie can't, in the first year, can't make that much. Like, they're only making like $1 million the first
Yeah.
year.
Right. I mean,
Must be worth it to retain the guys, right? For the
Yeah.
rookie tech
Hell yeah.
contract. Yeah.
I
I agree though.
that's-
Right? Like,
got- yeah.
they haven't proven anything, right? Like, how many flops are there in the NFL draft?
And the big thing about NFL
Yeah.
contracts too is they're highly incentive based. Like,
Yeah.
NFL doesn't do fully guaranteed contracts, or they're not supposed to.
They
Not for
certainly
running
don't like
backs.
to, yeah.
Definitely not for running backs.
And I feel like that's the position that needs it the most,
Yep, that's the one.
right?
That's the
Yeah.
one. I saw a meme today talking about, and we're going to get to it, so I won't talk about it too much. But Justin Fields, he didn't get a call. The running backs just had a meeting, all the running backs in the league, to talk about the
Yeah.
situation. And it was about Justin Fields not getting called to the running back meeting, and he was like reading this thing. It was from a Ratatouille, the chef, and he's reading this note. He's getting mad because he's not invited. But I think the problem is the teams know that all of these guys could win a Super Bowl with them. They're all very young. They're all very athletic. They're all very talented. It just, the scheme around a guy like C.J. Stroud is dependent, right? Because C.J. Stroud is good enough to do anything with a good
Is
team.
he?
Yes, he is.
We'll
I'm not
see.
fully convinced.
We've yet to see.
Okay,
I'm
Will
not
Levis
fully
isn't,
convinced.
and that's why Will Levis isn't in the conversation.
Well, he also wasn't a first round quarterback.
Because
Yeah.
Anthony Richardson?
Oh, that man! I am excited.
I mean,
for
while
that
he's
man.
an athletic freak,
He is.
Is he? Does he really deserve a fully guaranteed contract?
him
I mean-
so excited for Anthony Richardson to do a barrel roll over a defensive end.
I
Yeah.
got a question for your fantasy football league. How high will Anthony Richardson go in your draft?
The quarterbacks don't go super, super high. Actually, I was just talking about this when we talked about Joe Burrow's injury today. I'm hoping to steal one to cover that. That would be great.
Yeah. I'm still
Just to
looking.
steal one. I don't need anything, right?
Yeah.
I have everything kind of covered.
That is a smart idea, though, John. And like I for my fantasy team in Rick's league, which I didn't mention last time, I've kind of been winging it. So I drafted Pat Mahomes as a rookie, and yeah, he sat on the bench.
That doesn't sound like winging it.
That part wasn't winging it. But when Cam Newton retired, I've since run with or at least like when he was in the Patriots.
Technically, Cam Newton hasn't retired yet.
Okay, fine. When he left the Carolina Panthers, I've been basically rolling with one quarterback on my team. So if Pat Mahomes gets injured, then I'm kind of screwed. Or when he goes on bye week, I'm like,
He just throws left-handed if he gets hurt.
yeah. Or when he's on, when they're in a
actually.
bye week, I'm just like, I can just go without a quarterback. It's fine.
You go without a quarterback when the Chiefs are on bye?
I have made some last second trades.
He just does
like-
he does plug and play.
plug and
It
play,
doesn't actually matter.
rentals.
Fitzmagic.
Yep. Whoever's like the third string quarterback on some team that just happens to be starting that
My
week.
backup is Derek Carr, so if Burrow doesn't make week 1, I am sad, but not sad.
George, you get into fantasy football at all?
He's in our league.
He's our
I'm in
Oh,
one
he's in the league?
He's in our league.
Mark, you
I didn't know
lose a
that.
Point. You lose a
I am
point.
not in the league, so I don't know. Aside from you
are,
guys,
No,
That's
no,
true.
you are in. George is in our league.
Oh, George is in our league.
I don't even know what my team name is, honestly.
Totally not even paying attention.
Yeah, George has been
You're like,
rolling
no,
a couple
no,
of years
no,
in our
that's not what we're
league.
talking about.
That's what I was gonna say.
Yes.
Like,
So yes, I do fantasy football. Thank you for noticing.
oh my god,
I'm sorry, George. I'm so sorry.
This is
man.
almost over, right? I can go. Or
Oh my gosh.
That was amazing.
No, but I mean, so George, like in our league, though, I mean, as you know, we don't really have any quarterback incentives, so like there's no special scoring for them, which I've been trying to push actually a couple of years.
Listen,
I gave up.
I have the whole rule set all written down. Just every time we want to change it, I'm just like, eh. George, you're in the league this year. You're gonna play with us,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
Nobody's
for sure.
answering me, but Pete and Tim and Mark.
sorry, yes,
Pete
I
and
would.
Tim.
I would do it again.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right, sounds good.
There we go.
Even after
Welcome
that,
to the league, George. Welcome to the league.
Yeah, it's my first year. Excited to join. Yeah.
I literally, Mark, the ridiculous. He's been in the league for like 4 fucking years.
I know. Yeah, he's been
I
a
haven't
regular.
done great, I suppose. I did have some high-scoring teams.
You won the
Yeah.
scoring title
Yeah, I've
literally
had some
not
high-scoring
last
teams,
year, but
but-
the year
Oh,
before.
I remember that. Yeah, you just had like
Listen,
the
I don't
worst
know-
luck.
I don't-
Cup and Stafford. That was all it took. Cup
Yeah.
and Stafford. They went wild that year.
I
Yeah.
don't remember what I had for breakfast this morning. Okay, like, I'm not gonna remember who's in our league.
It's all good.
Did
Would
you
you?
take your meds today, Mark?
The sad thing is I don't actually remember what I have for breakfast, and I have the same thing for breakfast every single morning. I am old. I am an old.
If you made quarterback TDs like 6 points, passing TDs, or at least 4 points instead of 3, and then gave a higher percentage yards, but then penalize them more for interceptions, turnovers.
That's what the
Yep.
scoring is.
Yep.
That's
You know
the
what I've
fix.
always wanted in a
Or-
fantasy football league? You should get more points if your team wins.
What do you
Like
mean?
there should be a multiplier. I think
All
if
right.
your team wins.
Multiplayer.
looked
That's what
up.
I've always wanted.
And this will be the last thing we say because we're out of time. But we did look this up when we were talking about this because Pete really wanted upper echelon quarterbacks to be better, right? And so
I wanted them to go in the
fix to
first
that-
round in our league regularly.
the fix to that for everyone who's listening is to what Pete just said. You change the points from what it is to 6-4 scoring. That's what it's called.
Mhm.
6 points for touchdowns, 4 points for interceptions. Because
Yeah.
you'll see by doing that, good quarterbacks get a lot of touchdowns and throw not a lot of interceptions. Bad quarterbacks get a lot of touchdowns
Is that how it works?
Yeah.
and
Go
throw a
Kirk
lot
Cousins.
of
I'm
Shut
picking
your
Kirk
face.
Cousins this year.
Kirk Cousins. I mean, there are so many guys that are examples, like Kirk Cousins, where he throws a lot of interceptions and they lose a lot, but he still is a pretty good redraft fantasy quarterback. And we're done.
It would be
Whose turn
interesting.
is it?
It is my turn.
Okay.
And I had the perfect question. There it is. I found it. Do you guys want to do a next topic?
Hey, Lois. Let's get that next topic on, yeah? Ah, that was terrible. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I can do better.
Pete, that was great. You're the best at next topics ever. Just saying.
I don't know. I don't think I can beat
And so
Doug and Tim on their episodes.
I think you can. You should try. You hear that, Doug? The gauntlet was just levied.
Dun dun dun.
All right, so we're going to keep it on. And I told you we were going to talk about underpaid running backs, and we are. So after 10 months of talking and arguing about his contract, master of the deal, Saquon Barkley, just agreed to his deal. He took a 1-year deal at $11 million for the 23-24 season. Now, this deal itself is only the previous $10.1 million for the franchise tag, along with $900,000 in statistical incentives that, get this, are
Ooh, say that again.
Statistical incentives.
Very good.
Ooh.
That's good, right? That are entirely, and I mean entirely, tied to the Giants making the playoffs. So this deal does not include any assurances that they would not place the franchise tag on him again in 2024. So my question, guys, is how did Joe Schoen completely annihilate Saquon Barkley? And does this confirm our thought that the running back market is ruined? As well, will it affect Barkley's play this upcoming season?
I don't know if Saquon got annihilated. I mean,
He got
didn't.
annihilated.
He didn't. He's still getting paid $10 million at least.
I would love to be
All right.
considered annihilated and get $10 million.
I mean,
1-year deal, right?
Yeah,
That's the
just
big.
yeah.
I
yeah.
mean-
keep in mind, if he signed a long-term deal, while he'd be making more later, he wouldn't be making so much this year. So, I mean, and that's why I don't quite understand why, like, especially running backs, why do they feel like they have to take a stand by sitting out a year? Like, oh, so you're not going to make $10 million this year. In fact, you're going to make $0. Like,
Right.
how is that going to really affect change?
mean,
Yeah.
There's a lot of good running backs. I don't know.
It's a strike.
A lot of good running backs.
It's
Like,
just like
I know.
I mean, it's not just like, I'm not going to say that, but it is akin to a work strike. And if they feel like they're being treated unfairly, they have decided to not play the game.
It doesn't work, though. It doesn't work.
It'd be one thing
It
if
doesn't
every
work
running
because
back
they're replaceable.
stopped.
Yeah, exactly.
Very
They're
replaceable.
very, very replaceable because the running back position in the NFL these days is a scheme position to just do something different.
This is something I forgot to actually mention last week. So, did you guys hear what the Eagles did for this year's running back?
No.
They were so Miles Sanders, I believe, he was supposed to either sign for $7 million or he signed with another team for $7 million, or it was something like that. So Miles Sanders no longer on the Eagles. So essentially, there's a $7 million hole that they could have replaced for Miles Sanders, and they replaced him with 4 running backs.
Huh.
4 running backs.
4 ought
One
to
of
do
them
it.
is one of the guys that's already there. I can't really remember what his last name is now.
Rashad Penny, guys.
Oh,
And
Penny's-
Rashad Penny was
Penny's
one
on
of
the Eagles
them.
now? Okay.
In his sad career, Rashad Penny is now an Eagle.
One of
He
the
could've been
guys
You
something.
need to do
from
5 carries a game, though, if you have that many running backs.
I know, right? Seriously.
But they were able to. They have 4 running backs, the same price as Miles Sanders on their team.
Yeah,
Damn.
DeAndre Swift, Rashad Penny, Kenneth Gainwell on my Dynasty team, and Boston Scott.
Boston Scott.
That is, yep. Those are
And
the
I had to
journeyman
pick
running
him. His
backs.
name
right
is
there.
Gainwell, and he's a running back, guys.
He gains well.
So what does that tell you? I mean,
Because the fucking position doesn't matter.
Yeah,
That's what
apparently,
it tells me.
but it
doesn't
does.
matter.
Apparently
it does
the-
matter.
apparently Philadelphia is the journeyman running back destination because those guys are all like, oh, yep.
Well,
Those are-
DeAndre Swift is still pretty young. I mean, he's he's a
good pickup. That's a
he's a
good pickup
potentially
for him, by the way.
explosive running back because
Love
I mean he
DeAndre
was
Swift.
pretty good at Detroit. He
Detroit.
just got hurt.
Yeah, I'm surprised they didn't give. I don't know.
And
Well, Detroit-
honestly, Rashad Penny, first round pick in 2019,
Yeah, it's-
2020.
Yeah,
That's
for
old
Seattle.
for a running back now.
For Seattle.
Getting a little long in the tooth, but signs of genius every once in a while when he doesn't have a broken knee or a broken ACL.
Yeah,
Should I drop him this year, Pete?
I think it might be time.
I don't know.
Is it
He's been
time?
hurt. He's been
Is it
hurt so
time?
much. He's been hurt so much. He's played the equivalent of like 4 games or something like
Yeah.
that.
It's like a car you put in the. It's like a car you keep in the garage. Is that how it works?
Yeah, it's
We're still talking about Saquon, right? Because it sounds a lot like him. But
yeah, but he's at least
No.
had good seasons.
I mean,
yeah,
Or
thank God the Giants didn't overpay another player that had one good season.
fourth
But yeah,
highest rusher
Yeah,
in the league
right.
last year. I mean, and so he was hurt for most of 21. So
Yeah.
we were terrible in 21.
And 2022, I think he missed a lot that year.
Hurt a lot in 20. So
Hmm.
good in 19, good in 22.
I like him. I think he's a good running back
Yeah.
for sure. I just wouldn't like.
If you look at the
too
Giants
much.
offensively last
Yeah,
year,
I agree.
think that they do actually need him for being
Yeah.
the 40
Absolutely.
to being the $40 million man. Danny Dimes also maybe bottom quarter in thrown touchdowns. So
He
I
would
think
not
he's
be a
important to the
first round pick
team.
in our fantasy league.
I don't know.
He
The
will
Darren
not.
Waller effect, I think, is going to be huge for the Giants.
I think
this year.
that's very big. I was very happy when they signed him. He's been
I
on my fantasy team on and off.
What
for
were the
last couple
Raiders
years.
thinking?
Yeah. Yeah, Waller's great.
I mean, I think the Raiders are kind of poorly managed.
Kind
Oh
of.
my god.
Tends
They
to
were-
feel that
no,
way.
they're just getting-
So the Raiders were about to make the playoffs last season, and I guess dude had a fight with Derek Carr, and they were like, you've been starting, we're close, but let's go with the rookie. We're gonna go with the rookie, you guys.
Yeah,
I think it's smart.
Carr was right to
He's like, fuck
not
you
look
guys, I'm
back.
out.
Yeah.
I think
I'll just leave then.
McDaniel just wants to put together another Patriots team. I mean, he signed Jacoby Myers, a former Patriot. He signed Jimmy G, a former Patriot. I wouldn't be surprised if he asked Gronk and Tom Brady to play. I mean, Brady's a part owner of the team now, so
that's true.
Really?
Yes.
I did
There
not
you
know
go.
that.
Owner player.
I stand
There you
corrected there.
go.
I was about to say, like, even
like
the
it.
Patriots can't be the Patriots anymore because they don't have Brady. But hey, I guess these guys have Brady.
They got baby Gronk though.
The Raiders have. Oh, they do have baby Gronk.
They got baby Gronk.
I don't know. I thought McDaniels learned from his stint in the Broncos, and it turns out he
did not.
decided to make worse mistakes.
Hmm.
He did not. And we're out of time.
You're out of time.
Womp womp.
Face out of time.
What do we got next? I'm out. That's it. That's all I got for
All right, I'm
tonight.
going to take it from the soundboard. Ready?
Do it.
Hey baby. Hey baby. Do you want a next topic?
God, it's my fucking favorite.
So when I had first
Maybe.
heard that
Sorry about that.
Phew.
when I had first heard that the movies Barbie and Oppenheimer were coming out last weekend, I personally wasn't really all that interested. I mean, the concept of a Barbie movie seemed a little too gimmicky, and I'm not usually one for historical dramas in theaters. Now, apparently, I was one of a very small group, as both movies did very well above expectations, with Oppenheimer grossing over $80 million and Barbie getting $155 million.
Won
in
the
its-
weekend,
Huge.
in its
apparently.
opening weekend. Now,
Barbenheimer
me-
weekend, baby.
Barbenheimer. Now, for me, these recent Hollywood victories have only shined a light a little bit more on the ongoing strikes for the actors and writers. So, everyone, have we seen either movie yet? And with the recent successes of Barbie and Oppenheimer, hurt or help the writers and actor strikes?
I saw both, guys.
We did mention that.
I saw both.
I haven't seen Barbie
because
yet.
I
But
talked about
Which one did you like better?
it. I liked Barbie better.
Yeah.
wow.
I did. I'll tell you what. And so here's the deal. Oppenheimer will win Oscars.
Yes.
Cillian Murphy is genius.
Yeah.
He is just like maybe one of our greatest actors currently.
And
I
he
think-
does is Christopher Nolan films.
Well, I mean, this is his first Nolan film, Cillian Murphy.
No, it's not.
Killian
He was Scarecrow.
Yeah, he was the bad
in
guy
Batman.
in Batman.
And
yep.
he was in whatever the other war movie that Nolan did.
Dunkirk.
Do we really?
I think it
want
was that.
Was it Dunkirk?
I mean,
Yeah.
sure.
Dunkirk, yes, thank
The
you.
Batman movies were very good, but do we really want to rake Christopher Nolan for the Batman movies when he's made things like The Prestige and Interstellar?
Never heard of those movies.
I mean,
Batman.
I think The Dark Knight certainly can, because I mean that's. Usually
I love that Batman
the-
trilogy.
I mean,
I did.
It was
I thought it was
very
really good.
good Batman movie, and I love superhero movies so much more than I should at 42 years old. But still,
Hey, you said last week you weren't 42.
Christopher Nolan is a serious director, and,
Oh,
and
yeah.
I just serious, like a good director.
Yep.
I don't know. The Barbie movie was so interesting because I expected drivel, just like everyone else in the whole wide world. I have an 11-year-old. I wanted to have a night. We just went for Sunday for fun, and it was awesome.
Mm-hmm.
It was awesome. But the movie was interesting. They talked about society. They talked about the patriarchy. It made me cry. I mean, like this
Wow.
movie was like actually surprisingly good. And the reason I'm talking about it is because it literally blew my mind. I was just like, what? is happening?
Now, I
How is this good?
almost actually phrased the question this way: with Barbie doing so well, is Margot Robbie now a box office draw again because she's had some not so good movies recently?
I mean, sure. I mean, you got to remember, pretty much. I don't know how they cast that movie like that. It's pretty much every famous man and woman in Hollywood right now. It is incredibly cast.
Well,
actually.
Simu Liu was a surprise to me as a Ken.
Yeah, Simu Liu was
Spoiler
great. He was great. He's one of the Kens. There's a whole bunch of really interesting women as Barbies. They're all really like diverse and ethnic, and I don't know. I mean, maybe. So I'm gonna precursor all of this. I might have just loved it because I'm really pro my daughter, and I think that it was a very good. It was a very good movie for her to see.
Hashtag
as, like,
girl dad.
Like as a 10-year-old growing up, figuring out what being a woman is like. I think it was really, really good like that.
Did she enjoy it
And
too?
I'm gonna stop talking because I talk about it too much. So what do
Yeah,
you guys think?
George, what about you? Have
Yeah.
you seen either movie yet?
No, I don't do those sorts of things. But I do have daughters, so I understand that part.
But your daughters are small, so
Yeah, yeah. Even you learn a lot as a man raising a woman. It's things I didn't know, and she's only 3, and it's wild.
wild.
Yeah.
Well, it's like every time I see a cheesy like dad commercial, I feel emotional.
Mm-hmm.
For
I've definitely
no reason.
cried more post-kid than pre-kid, I feel like.
Yeah, for sure. Now, Pete, let's get your thoughts on Oppenheimer. Did you think it was made well?
Yeah. I mean, it was a perfect no. I mean, it's definitely not the best movie I've seen, but I really enjoyed it. And I think it was done well enough, and the subject matter is heavy and important enough where I think the two kind of came together into something great.
What visual effects would you have done differently, Pete?
I gotta say, all the weird, like the particle stuff. Well, if you had shown me that, like in the beginning of the movie, right? Oppenheimer, the character, like the physicist, is often dreaming about like different, very quantum mechanics theories and things like that, and you keep seeing flashes of these like physics things happening, and they're cool effects, but these days cameras are so good, and he was so heavily emphasizing no CG. I'll get to that in a minute. I have a little beef with that. But those kind of cutaways to those effects are like things that honestly you can they're cool, but you can do them on a camera today. Like you can get incredible particle effects by literally just setting up a camera with the right lighting and a bag of flour and let it go in front of it with the correct lens, and you get those kind of particles.
So Pete, artistically, I read that completely. Those scenes I read completely differently. Like from those scenes, I got like kind of a mood set talking about his like kind of mental state at that point in his life, and because those were not like him thinking in physics more than those were like him thinking in physics and having anxiety attacks because of it.
Yeah, there could have been a little bit of that too, and
I think that was what at least the way I read those scenes is that's what they were trying to portray, is that all he could think about was the energy and the unstable energy in the world. That's why the cutaway is to fire, all the fire mentions in the beginning, all that stuff.
Yeah, and I think the intent was good. I just think the effect itself, those could have been a little bit better. The bomb was awesome. And the way they did it, I was a little surprised. I don't want to give anything away in case you're going to go see it, but the way that was shot and the way that was edited, picture and sound, was like, oh man, it has you on the edge of your seat. At least it did for me. But my beef, to bring this to a conclusion with this, is that the whole thing is like no CG. And we had a similar thing. I was talking to my coworker Rob about this same thing that happened with Top Gun, where they were all about everything in camera. Nobody else had to do anything in post-production, which is complete bullshit. And Nolan went as far, from what I've heard, as to basically leave out more than 80% of the people that worked on the movie because they were all visual effects artists.
Well, that's
out
Like
of the,
no credit,
no credit,
like in
no
the
credit,
credits or anything. Yeah.
uncredited.
Hmm.
People that slaved hundreds of hours, maybe more, on this movie over years get 0 credit. So the studio
That's a shame.
yeah. So the studio DNEG did the majority of the work. They're a big studio, really good one. And I think they're one of their higher ups, if not like the owner of the studio, basically like, ripped Nolan a new one and said like, here's the list. And they kind of made like their own credits for the movie. And like, these are all the people, every single person in the studio that worked on it. So that was cool.
All right, real quick. Do we think these movies hurt or help the writers and actors strike? Because we didn't really talk about that. John?
I don't think it's applicable, honestly.
Okay. George?
I don't think it matters.
Yeah, I don't know. Without seeing them, or I don't know. Yeah, nothing. No
Okay,
opinion.
Pete?
Directly, no. I agree with you guys. Indirectly, it might be a platform where at least this is an opportunity for the actors that were on those 2 movies and the writers to step up and say, hey, do you ever want to see anything like this again? Fucking pay us.
Well,
I think I think you're absolutely right about that, Pete. Indirectly, it's going to have an effect.
Yeah.
I mean,
so there's a
Cillian
potential.
Murphy and Florence Pugh and a whole bunch of the other actors walked out of the red carpet when it was announced. They just left. I think, though, it is very clear that movies take a long time to make, and these movies have been in production for multiple years, and it has no relation on the fact that they struck in 2023 of a movie that they filmed probably in 2020 or 2021, right?
Oh, yeah, and wrote even before that.
And wrote even before that,
right?
right?
So that's why I'm saying, no direct correlation. But I mean, it may bring awareness. Hey, they can still make good movies, but you need these people to be supported to do it.
I'd be a little afraid that people don't realize the time.
Pete.
Like people don't realize it takes years, and then they would like, see, look at everybody's on strike, and these movies came out and they're fine. You know what I mean? Like, the general public could definitely have that.
I mean, people
for sure.
are dumb, so and we should move on. We're at like 7 minutes.
Right.
Oh,
it's okay.
Come on, we'll just do another soundboard one. I'm gonna go right into it. All right.
Do it.
Do it.
Do it. I'm not gonna press the button. Somebody press the button.
I don't know how to use soundboard.
Hello. Do you have a next topic? I do.
And so we're going to keep on that track. SAG-AFTRA, the Union for the Screen Actors Guild, is on strike, just like we talked about, for the first time since 1960. And there are many reasons they're striking, but the main ones are pay. And so the stat is 87% of the guild only earns $26,000 annually. And the one we're going to talk about, AI protections. And so Netflix, not having any of it, just posted an AI project manager position for as much as a whopping $900,000. And so in an example of life representing art, this is exactly the premise of the new episode of Black Mirror. And so in this episode, just to kind of go over the beginning of it, the service Streamberry starts a show mimicking a viewer's life as it happens, where the actors are also AI generated. And so what do we think about Netflix's inability to read the room and the future of AI generated content where both actors and writers and related AI projections being asked for by the WGA?
I mean, this is bound to happen, right? Like even without the writers and the actor strikes, this was bound to happen. Someone was going to experiment with AI and try to produce more and more content, entertainment content with AI generated stuff. I mean, we'll see how will society kind of accept it. I mean, we'll see. I guess it'll depend on what the story is and how lifelike the AI is for the actors. But I think personally, or rather initially, people are probably not going to accept it.
And what if they don't tell them?
Well,
yeah, that's
a very good point. That's a very good point.
They don't tell them. And so to add on to that, Netflix released, this is real. I don't know if it's actually real as in they did the show this way, but it is a real show on Netflix right now called Deep Fake Love. And so it's a dating show where they're taking couples.
It's a dating show.
Of course it's a dating show where they're taking couples and they're putting them in different pools with different men and women, and they're showing them videos of their significant other doing things that would generally make you pissed off and asking them whether or not it happened. Spanish people, I guess.
Wow.
But so, and I don't know if it's staged. It could be staged, but the videos are crazy. Like
I bet.
like
I
your
bet.
significant other is sitting next to someone and they show them like kissing or making out or doing stuff that they wouldn't be doing, right?
Right.
And so the game is, well, did it happen?
Oh man.
Isn't that fucked up?
Yeah.
I don't like any of this.
Yeah,
Yeah.
this is
Pretty fucked up.
This is a very like dark road that this can all go down.
This is the
very
darkest
quickly.
timeline again.
Yep.
And I bring up that episode, and you guys should all watch it. It's very good. It's very worthwhile. It's only
I don't have
an hour.
Netflix.
Well, just friggin' do something about that. I told Pete to watch it last night. I don't know if he did.
I didn't get a
But,
chance to, unfortunately, but I will very soon.
The add-on premise of it is that Salma Hayek, who plays in the fake show on the fake show, Salma Hayek, the story goes that she I just signed, Netflix paid me a bunch of money and I just gave them my likeness. For so they make Salma Hayek do all this really crazy things because the person whose life is getting mimicked is doing crazy things to try to make Salma Hayek be mad at them, right?
That's interesting.
Yeah,
So I wonder, can they use that Selma Hayek likeness and like whatever they want now?
Yeah. It didn't really happen, part of the show, the premise, but like,
Right.
what if that happened? Like, what if somebody super famous signed a very big deal for their likeness and then their likeness started doing really terrible shit?
Or just started appearing in every single Netflix series?
Sure. Right. And
Like Salma Hayek in The Tiger King?
yeah.
Salma Hayek, Tiger King.
But Salma Hayek herself doesn't actually get any money for it, which is part of the reason that actors are on strike. You pay them once to digitally make a copy of you forever that they can do whatever they want with. It's kind of it's debasing too. On
Well,
top
the
of
strike
whole
is a
thing.
little bit different than that, but
Well, yeah.
because it's kind of along the same lines.
It's
though.
not that far
The
off.
main arm of the strike that should be the fact that most of the guild, we know some people in the Screen Actors Guild,
We do.
who aren't actors, right? But most of the guild doesn't make a ton of money.
No,
'Cause
the overwhelming
actors-
majority don't.
The actors don't make a ton of money. The Rock just made a
seven-figure,
donation,
yeah. Steph told me that
seven-figure donation to the Screen
yesterday,
Actors Guild.
either today or yesterday. Yep.
Just to here is the money you need to do the things that you need to do while this
Yeah.
is happening, because I
I
am a
don't
very
think it's
rich
very
man.
top heavy, right? Like just like a lot
yeah.
of things become. Right?
Absolutely,
So,
absolutely.
Yeah.
Is The Rock even in the guild anymore? Was he ever in the guild?
yeah, right.
You do have
But
some big name
I'm
actors.
I'm sure
that
he
are-
was at once.
Yeah. There are some big name actors that are on the picket lines though, which is refreshing to see.
So
Well,
it is with streaming. It is interesting the fact that John, I know we know how much you love broadcast TV, but so TV shows would have like 20 to 25 episodes in a season. Meanwhile, now all these streaming seasons they have like they.
8 to 13
Secret
at the most,
Invasion. Secret Invasion. They just had the season finale. It was 6 episodes.
That's it? Oh wow.
But that movie cost, when you're making hour-long movies, you're making 6-hour-long movies or 10-hour-long movies. What was the budget of Wheel of Time, Pete?
Wheel of Time was actually
What was the budget of Lord of the Rings?
Lord of the Rings is the big one. Yeah, Wheel of Time should have gotten Lord of the Rings' budget.
But all right, but those are bad examples because those are big budget ones. But there's
but
a
they're
lot of
good
smaller
examples 'cause
budget. But there's a
I
lot
don't
of
think
smaller
there are.
budget ones that are like 8, 10 episodes long.
I don't think there
so they're
are.
not. Well, that's the whole thing with why the writers and the actors are on strike, because it's harder to find long good jobs now
I
that
think-
last for a while.
Well, it's also the
quality.
royalties are all screwed up too.
That's
There's the one.
that
That's
too.
the
That
one.
too.
That's the big one.
That's the big one. I think that, and this is the reason that I can't watch broadcast television anymore. Is broadcast television is terrible. The effects are terrible. The writing's terrible. The acting's terrible. And it's because the money's all in streaming.
Money's always
Yep.
streaming.
You have the one of the reasons I'm a Yankee fan. When you have the best in a place, they do the things better. It's just what happens.
But the Yankees don't have the best, John.
No, they're all injured.
But they
because
used
like
to.
to hire. They like to
Soon.
hire old people.
Let's give it
There's an
time.
Angels pitcher that would like to come over.
No, he's not being traded.
A pitcher hitter.
He's not being. The Angels officially said they are buyers in this trade deadline, and they're
Interesting.
not moving Otani.
Wow.
They're going all in on Otani, which they should.
Free agency's around the corner. It's fine.
There's more than enough players who'd like to be Yankees. George is right. And I think we're done.
Yeah, you can
Yes.
you can spend another $200 million on a broken
And
pitcher,
we
John.
will.
Yes.
Oh.
But
Once we get Rodin cleaning the stadium at night, we can save a lot of money.
He's
Buy
got to earn
some
that
more
200
pitchers.
million, right? All right.
mm,
Anyone got next topic?
no.
George, are you ready? Are you for your next topic debut? We're running out of topics.
Yeah.
But
Sure.
you
I
don't
can
have.
say so. Literally just okay. Here we
Yeah.
go. The next topic.
Nice.
Perfect.
That's great.
So, in response to last week's episode, we're going to talk about pickleball. For those that do not know, pickleball was invented in 1965 near Seattle, and the court's dimensions are the same as a doubles badminton court. Oops, I just lost my script. And played with wooden paddles and a net height slightly lower than a tennis net. The pandemic brought popularity to the sport since the upfront costs and difficulty are relatively low, and it has continued to stay popular as the Association of Pickleball Professionals, that's right, there's
Whoa.
something called the Association of Pickleball Professionals, say more than 36.5 million people played from August 2021 to 2022. And they're predicting a 14% uptick this year. So everyone, have we tried to play pickleball, or do we have any interest in playing pickleball? And do we think the phenomenon will last?
So my insight in this is different. We have a friend whose father plays pickleball and talks to the mayor about it all the time.
Ooh.
So we're gonna have him on. I think the show. I talked to him about it this weekend. He's grandpa age, but awesome. I haven't tried it yet. I don't think I have an interest in playing it, but I think that the interest around it is really interesting.
You should try it.
Yeah, I should try it.
You should try it.
I'm
I
busy,
think-
recording a podcast all the time.
Well, it
Going to
doesn't take
work.
that long to play it. And I'm sure there's a lot of like tennis courts that have been retrofitted to now pickleball courts.
The JCC
There are.
the JCC right by our house does it.
There you go.
I played
You can buy-
pickleball in high school.
I
which
did
is weird,
too.
Right? That was a
Oh,
long
okay.
time ago.
I did
so
too,
it's-
actually.
So it's been
For a gym
around.
class. Yeah.
Can you
I
guys
didn't realize
tell
it was
us
around that
about the
long.
rules of pickleball? I would like to know. Teach me.
Wiffle ball and a hard paddle. That's all I know.
The rules are very similar to table tennis or ping pong.
Okay.
You're supposed to kind of go on the opposite side of the court when you're serving. So, and then there's a zone that you're not allowed to like go into, and it's supposed to hit in the ball's supposed to bounce in that area or something like that. But it's a lot of fun to play. It's easy to play, hard to master, I would say.
Okay.
And they are showing it. I believe ESPN2 actually showed the National Pickleball Tournament very
all the
recently.
way up to the 2.
Wow.
Ah,
Not,
and,
not on the
yeah.
Ocho?
I'm
Been
waiting
on-
from the Ocho.
Yeah,
to
put
the
on some
nose.
big TV.
Wow. Wouldn't you know?
But so you can buy a pickleball set on Amazon, not a sponsor, for about $20, and it comes with
What
two
you
paddles and a
could
ball.
be.
Comes with two paddles and a ball,
That's the
and
Yeah.
that's all you really need. You got everything else.
Wow.
yeah, it's a cheap sport that pretty much any age and skill level can play, right? Like I think that's why it's taken off. I played it with some friends pre-pandemic, so this is a few years ago now, and it was fun. Like I had a good time doing it, and like semi-athletic guys playing it, I guess. But like I could see definitely like a 60-year-old. I don't want to equate it to like bowling quite, but like it's definitely like something you can play into your elder age.
Okay.
Although I do
lot
know
of quick
someone
movements.
that pulled their calf muscle by playing pickleball.
Oof.
Ooh.
So I want to know what
stand
Sadie
corrected.
thinks about pickleball, Mark.
She's okay with it.
Yeah.
Actually, I think she has a set, and we've talked about playing. We haven't done it yet, though. For those that don't
Mark's
may or may
friend
not
who's a
remember,
tennis pro.
that's right. She was on season 1. She's a tennis pro, but yeah, we've talked about playing pickleball. In fact, maybe I'll call her after this, and we'll maybe try.
So
Sadie,
it's
kick
played.
Mark's ass in pickleball. Do it.
Yeah, I was
She-
gonna
she'll
say
totally kick my ass.
she would annihilate you probably.
She'll totally kick my ass. Oh, you're supposed to serve underhand too. You don't serve over.
Okay.
Yeah, right.
So can you do like ping pong style serves where you can get like
Absolutely.
crazy
I have a
different
crazy
spins on the
spin.
ball?
I put a
yeah.
crazy spin on my pickleball serve.
My brother in ping pong was ridiculous. He'd be like, "Okay, how do you want me to beat you this time?" And he would do it a different way. Like, it was like, you'd see this ball coming at you, and I swear it would do like an S, and every time you hit it, it would go straight up and off the table, and you're like, what the fuck? Like, how? And he's just laughing.
Witchcraft.
Seriously.
Witchcraft.
Witchcraft.
George, have you played pickleball recently?
Yeah, like 3 years ago, probably something like
Okay.
that.
That was a pre-pandemic.
Well, you
yeah.
mentioned it a while ago, but I didn't know like.
Yeah, not super long ago. Yeah,
George
it
has
was
3
fun.
under 5. 3 years ago was
That's
recently.
true. It is hard. It is hard
That's
to.
true.
Yeah, it's hard to when you have 3.
I don't know.
When the kids outnumber the grown-ups, I understand how that's
Yeah.
And
hard.
they're
It was
all
probably actually
little.
5 years. I don't think I had a kid at the time. So yeah, it was at least 5 years ago. So it was a while ago, but like more recent than high school, I guess.
Okay.
I like it though. I like some like obscure sports like that. Honestly, I like watching cornhole and stuff when it's on TV because
Yeah, and
Better than
axe throwing.
baseball.
Axe throwing is on TV too.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
no, I like watching
An
that stuff. Honestly,
abundance of axe bars, by the way, Mark, for the next time you come up.
You know,
Yeah.
I'm starting to get really good at axe throwing.
We gotta go
Yeah.
and do that. That's a ton of
Yeah.
fun.
Let's go do axe
Love
throwing.
axe throwing.
It's because I love darts. That's why I
Yeah.
love axe throwing.
oh, there we go.
So I'm
I
gonna
play
need
some
to try
darts, too.
pickleball. When I was, for those that don't know, I have some gut disease issues that crept up. Welcome to your 40s. And
What does this have to do with pickleball?
I don't
I'm
know
getting
what
there.
he's talking about.
Getting there. So when I went for my 8-week infusion of meds to treat that, there was a guy that was in the seat across from me, and they're like, "Oh, you've lost a lot of weight," and he's like, "Yeah, I've been playing a lot of pickleball. It's been great." So
Can you talk like that old man for the rest of the episode?
No.
Please.
I got
Never
an idea.
heard an old man talk like that.
Yeah.
Don't
I don't
believe
know.
anything else you've said.
It was something like that. I swear he talked exactly like that. And he was
Pete,
an
I
avid
feel like I was there.
an avid pickleball player.
An avid pickleballer. Yes.
Oh, and he had a laugh too. He was like, "Oh." I don't know.
Chip, chip, cheerio. All right.
I don't
I
know.
think we are so good at radio. Really, really good at it. Like the best.
Well,
Best that ever was.
I definitely have a good face for it, for the radio part.
Yeah, you-
not the video part.
Aw.
Yeah.
Well, I'm a bunch of handsome devils. Anybody who's listening and not watching, so you should watch. I think that's
Craig got
important.
pretty sad about that one, Pete. Too.
Craig got
I saw
very
it.
sad.
Yeah,
Craig,
Sorry.
Craig
laughed.
makes me very uncomfortable. By the way, I can't stop looking at the picture of him.
He's
Well,
always.
I
he's
know we'll
always
get everyone
listening.
smiling again. Ready?
Ukka-Pekka Luukkonen.
Nice. Wait, just my last one. So is my favorite.
That is a truth fact.
All right, let's move
All
on.
right.
All right.
Did,
Are we ready?
did you know what this is, Mark?
I know what it is.
Have
It's
you
the
heard-
final
Oh, no.
topic. The final topic.
To throw these headphones across the room. Oh my god.
It's my favorite. It's really very good.
Just-
I'm
George,
so-
I heard that song on the radio like last week, and all I heard was John and I singing "Final Topic" as opposed to "Final Countdown." It was
Pete, I
glorious.
It's my favorite thing. I left the Flopatron in last week's episode.
Oh,
'cause
yes.
it's amazing.
Papatron.
Flopatron. Yeah, so it's a dude that for all you listeners who didn't tune in last week, and for George here, in case you didn't hear it either, some dude has made an entire orchestra out of a mechanical orchestra out of towers and towers of old floppy drives and like hard disk drives and printers. And he's able to program on one floppy disk per song an entire musical like array of instruments and pitches and melodies and percussion and everything just by the mechanical whims, hums, squeaks, like ticks and hums of these
Sing over
devices.
words.
It's pretty crazy.
You know what? You know what?
I do that.
Yeah.
You know what we should do? Maybe in our next episode we play that little clip for the final topic.
Oh, yeah. We can do
I
that.
don't know if that's gonna get flagged by YouTube.
Are we getting in
But-
trouble again?
Well, the thing is, it's like a YouTube clip.
Yeah, but it's somebody else's property.
We'll find
Somebody
out.
else.
We'll
I don't
find
think we're
out.
gonna do
We'll
it.
see.
We'll figure out. We'll put it on the website. It's a YouTube thing.
Yeah,
All right.
we'll definitely send a link to it.
Let's do it.
Yes.
And so Pete's been telling me to use questions that I've been repeating, so I'm going to do one of them now. So gone are the days of a movie you just had to finish when you saw flipping through the channels. And so I was thinking about this question. I got to thinking, do I miss regular old TV? Is the ease of one bill, many channels, and the freedom of just seeing what was on and having something you've seen a million times on as background sound? And so we've talked about it a lot on the show. I am a content devourer for sure, and I just can't watch network dramas anymore. But do you guys miss cable? Also, what is your favorite must-watch movie? And so, just for examples, mine are a toss-up between Shawshank, Pulp Fiction, and Fight Club.
So I don't miss cable because I pretty much have cable. I stream YouTube TV, which has like all the cable channels that I want, with the exception of Nessun. Nessun, it doesn't. I can't see Red Sox games anymore unless they're nationally televised.
Sad panda.
Very sad panda. But and it's got an unlimited cloud DVR. YouTube TV, not a sponsor.
So then I would
Should
say
be.
that you do miss TV because you haven't gotten rid of it yet.
But I found
right,
a
you
way to
replicated
get
it.
around it. I've gotten a
Is it?
way around it.
Is it
So
though?
this is
Because
why-
I
it's
have
TV.
because. But
It sounds like you
it
still pay
essentially
for
is
TV.
TV, but it doesn't
sounds like you
cost
still pay for
nearly as
TV,
much
Mark.
as cable. It doesn't cost nearly as much.
This
as
is why you can't afford a Netflix account.
I'll tell you. Because I've been thinking about one of the services, and the ones I've looked at with what I pay now for like very pared down TV, which is just like the TV choice that we've talked about before.
Mhm.
It's more. The Hulu one, the YouTube one, they're all more than
They are.
than what Spectrum
Well-
is offering for pared down cable.
Yes and no.
Kind of.
So
I mean, yes.
it depends on the bundle that you get.
Because
but-
$60 is less than $65 in most countries.
Okay.
Well, all right, fine, John Madden.
I did the math around here though, with the internet package that I have and my YouTube subscription and all the other subscriptions I'm not paying for, except for Netflix. I am still spending less than what I would spend on cable.
That's great.
So it does work out, and I can keep my YouTube TV and
But you
still watch.
But you still flip through channels though, right?
No, not at all. I mean, I can if I wanted to. There's a guide and
You have
and
the
whatnot,
power.
But I pretty much watch the same stuff all the time.
Yeah.
Part of me is
So let's talk about our favorite movies.
Ooh.
I mean, Shawshank. I could watch Shawshank anytime it comes on.
yeah, that's
Every-
fantastic. Yep.
And it's played on multiple channels on YouTube TV. Not a sponsor. Of course, any Marvel movie too. I'll watch anytime
Yeah.
that comes on as well.
But that's just called Disney Plus.
What do you? What about you, George? You got one?
Trying to think about it.
Hmm.
Definitely a big Back to the Future fan.
Oh
Yes.
Nice.
That one is
Very high on my list.
always
Which is
any
your
one of
favorite
the
Back to
three
the
is a
Future?
must-watch if they're on TV.
But which one is your favorite?
Boy, it's funny to say that the cop-out answer is 2, but right? But I love 1, the original.
I love one.
No,
I love
I
one.
agree. I agree. One is it's so charming. It's so perfectly
But
done.
2 is very, very good.
2 is good.
Very, very good.
It's cool.
Yeah,
And is 3 just bad?
It's
No.
it's my least
not
favorite,
bad.
Yeah.
but not
Yeah,
bad.
it's quite, yeah.
yeah.
Just the
It
least
doesn't hold up as well as the
Yeah.
first two. And the second
does
one
not
is
hold up
such
as well
an
as
You don't hold up as well as the first two.
but
It's true.
it's amazing
very true.
the second one and just that it's to go on in Back to the Future too. Like it's such an late 80s period piece in a way, and yet they got so much right about what happened in 2015, and they were 1 year off on the
Yeah.
Cubs winning the World Series.
All right. First of all, it's just the
Yeah.
Cubs that they are off by 1 year.
Right.
We still don't see flying cars. We don't see hoverboards.
There is a flying car now being made for an affordable price, supposedly. But I mean, we're
Yeah,
about
in
8.
2035. 2035.
Yeah,
I don't think we're
only
gonna
20
make
years
it.
off on that one. But
I mean, what was the original question?
no, good movie. Oh yeah, yeah. A
Movies.
classic of mine that I would always watch if it was on TV. Terminator 2. I love it. That's one of my
Yes.
all-time
haven't seen that
favorite
in a while.
movies. I love that
Yeah.
movie.
It's been a while since I've seen Terminator 2. I don't
Honestly,
know. For
me
some
too.
reason, I'm not a big Terminator fan.
The second one's
I'm
so
not a
good
big
though.
Terminator fan. The second one is, I mean, of
incredible.
all the movies, the second one is the best
Yeah,
one.
I honestly I
old-
don't care for the ones after that a little bit.
I don't know if
so
I've ever
much.
seen the original Terminator. Now I think about it.
It's good
You should
too.
watch the original
You
one's
should
good
watch
It's
the
good.
original
Yeah.
Terminator.
It's
Takana.
it's much more of a horror film than it like a horror
Sarah
thriller than the second one is.
And the weird
Yeah.
other guy that no one remembers that helped Sarah like that whole movie.
Oh, that's Michael Biehn.
It's John's dad. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's John's dad.
Kyle Reese,
Mm,
the character.
Wow.
Yeah,
Nice.
It's a deep cut
Well-
right there.
Pete is a child of the 90s.
that was the 80s. And also, same guy, Michael Biehn, played what the frig was his name? He was one of the stars in Aliens, another James Cameron movie. So he was James Cameron's favorite actor.
Oh, right.
And he did technically have a whole scene in Terminator 2 that was cut from the final film. He was pissed about it.
Can you see that cut scene?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if they had a cut of the movie with it in there, but they definitely had the scene separated to show on like a special features on a DVD.
Oh, yeah.
Because I have seen it, but yeah, there's like a 2.5 or 3, almost 3 hour cut of that movie. That's really good. It's like Arnold as the Terminator trying to smile, and it's the most hilarious thing ever. It's Arnold, like, you know, Arnold may not
Let's
be the
be
best
honest,
actor.
Arnold trying to do any kind of acting is funny.
But Arnold acting like a robot trying to act was so, oh my God, it was so good. It was amazing.
That's why I started doing comedies, right? It's just like, you're trash. Can you just do comedies because we're already laughing at
Every
you?
time I'm on Netflix
for
right
sure.
now, I see Arnold's new show.
Twins was one of the best movies, and Kindergarten Cop.
I need to see those
Fair
again.
point.
Yeah, those are
Right? He
classics.
did a good job at him, right?
Yeah.
He even did some of the same lines in the Terminator.
Yeah.
It's not a tumor.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, we're out of time.
It's fine. I just
Oh,
broke
man.
my coaster right now.
Broke your
Aw.
coaster.
It's,
Aw.
that was the last Pete's Bar coaster I had left.
All right, Pete.
All right, are we ready?
Circle the wagons.
Yeah.
Press the buttons. Do the things.
So that has been our 10 topics. We'd like to thank our guests for joining us this week. Thank you, George.
Thanks, George.
Thanks, George.
Thank you guys. It was fun.
Please follow or like us on our YouTube channel and our social at If These Balls Pod on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and now Threads.
Now with a brand new banner.
Yeah.
Our website is www.iftheseballscouldtalkpod.com. This is Mark Pesci, and for my partner John Campagna and producer Pete Steffen, that's what we feel they would say if these balls could talk. See everyone.
Night, everybody.
Bye, guys. See you next time.
Bye.
If these balls